Greetings, voyagers. So an interesting thing happened. When I took out the gate, the metal gate between the cab and the box, I had to take it out because it would not swing all the way over to a right angle. It was cocked. It would get stuck on the refrigerator when I put it in there. And another thing that was a problem with it was that it didn't have enough, the bottom of the door, the gate, didn't have enough clearance from the floor for me to put in any insulation in the floor. So, but since I've taken the gate out, and since I have to replace it with a custom built wood frame door, and that means I can give that door the clearance it needs for insulation. So now I got a 1/2 inch of foamular insulation in the floor, and I just used my plywood floor panels as a template to cut it out. Seems to fit pretty snugly, and it's only a 1/2 inch. It's R3, but I don't care what anybody says. A 1/2 inch of insulation in your floor is better than none, because I live in a cold climate, and underneath this van is going to pass an ocean of bitter cold air in the wintertime. And I don't care what anybody says, you need insulation in the floor if you're going to stay warm. So that was fortuitous. So I'm going to drop those floor panels. Well, first I'm going to tape these seams with this stuff, this Reflectix tape. And then I'm going to drop the floor panels back in. That'll be it for the floor, and I'll have an insulated floor. Now I have loose polyester fiberfill, a 5-pound box coming, that I'm going to stuff into these cavities in the wall. Now polyester fiberfill is an excellent insulator. It used to be made here in America in 8-foot long bats. It comes in a roll. It came in a roll. And it was manufactured by, I think it was Dow Chemical. And as an insulation, it just didn't sell, so they took it off the market, which is too bad because it's superior to fiberglass in almost every way. I didn't compare our values, but the stuff is really popular in Australia. You can get it in Australia, but it's not that it's banned or prohibited in the U.S. It's just that the only corporation to ever manufacture this stuff didn't make enough money at it, so they stopped. So I'm buying the loose polyester fiberfill in a box, which you can get from Walmart. I'm buying a 5-pound box for $8.68. I don't think that 5-pound box is going to be enough to fill all the little cavities in this van, but I'll probably end up having to order a couple more boxes. But I'm getting it shipped to the local Walmart store, so I don't have to pay shipping charges. So there's a first look at the insulation. I'll keep you updated as this goes along. My polyester fiberfill has arrived. Picked it up last night. Sorry, I just wanted the jet noise to disappear. And this is it. This is a 5-pound box. I got it online at Walmart. They shipped it to my local Walmart, which is just a few miles away, which is very handy. Picked it up last night. And this is what I'm going to use to fill these spaces. All these little hard to get to places that you can't get rigid foam insulation into. That's what this is going into. So I'm going to start having some fun with this. Oops. Man, the stuff pulls right out. It's like cotton candy. And I'm not going to squeeze it down in there too tightly because I, like probably most other loose insulation materials like fiberglass, if you compress it, it loses its R value. So I'm going to get to work on that, and I'll get back to you when I've done as much as 5 pounds will do. Well, I've done as much as I can for right now. There's still a little more I can do. This box of polyester fiberfill was $8.68 online. I didn't get charged for shipping because they sent it to my local store So with the tax, it came to $9 and some change. Let's round it off. 10 bucks. 10 bucks a box. I still have all this much left. I still have some little spaces I can do, like up in those holes up there. These little holes here are almost impossible to fill because I can't even stick my finger in there. So there'll be a little bit more than I can do. But I would say, and of course I'm not able to get up into these empty spaces here. There's just no way I can. There's just no way I can feed that stuff up into there. I'll get into here as much as I can, but it's actually kind of additional, or I guess I could say supplemental insulation, because as you can see, all around the bottom here has this 1-inch lip. That 1-inch lip is going to be the resting place for 1-inch thick foam insulation. So this is just additional. This isn't primary. It will just give me additional insulation in the wall. So those 1-inch sheets are going to go all the way up somewhere up here somehow. I'm going to have to figure that out. These walls are never completely straight. They always have these subtle curves to them. It's kind of hard to take a rigid, flat, square material and make it conform to these odd shapes, but I'm going to do the best I can. But I think it's going to work just fine. I think it's going to be, I think by the time I get this thing all insulated, it's going to be nice and warm in here. So there's your $10 of polyester fiber fill. And I would urge anyone considering to insulate their van to look up this polyester fiber fill. There's a if you do a Google search for polyester fiber fill insulation, you will find one of the sites that comes up has a PDF that you can download, and it describes all the qualities of polyester fiber fill insulation, and it's really great stuff. You don't have to worry about it getting into your lungs. It's not, it's not fiberglass. It has the same R value as Goose Down. We all know Goose Down is a very effective insulator. It's cheap, it's available, so do look that up, and it's very enlightening. I recommend it. It's too bad we can't buy the bats. They don't make them in America anymore, and I don't think anybody's going to ship them in from Australia. So yeah, so there's my take on insulation for now. So here's how I've been handling some of this foam insulation. I'm going to show you quick what we have here for wall surface. You've got all these different levels, these different faces here. You got this face, you got this face, you got this face, you got this face, you got this face. Then down here, you got this lip. So you got like 1, 2, 3. Look at this. 1, 2, 3 different levels on the wall that you could attach to. You can't, I can't be cutting pieces to fit these shapes. I'm just going to have to go right over it with the 1-inch, from here all the way down to there. And as you can see, there's no ribs. There's no ribs in the side of this van. There's no posts, no ribs to anchor anything into. I've got this, and I got this down here. But, this foam stuff doesn't really curve that well. It will snap if you try to curve it too much. So what I've had to do is use little pieces of wood to push it in and hold it in, because it won't stay in. I've got to force it into position. Over here I've got little metal L brackets that I've screwed into the frame. I drilled a little pilot hole first, And then I used self-drilling screws, also called drill screws, to attach these brackets to the metal frame. And the rest of it I'm just piecing together, cutting little pieces and sticking them together with tape. I'm not going to get 100% coverage on my insulation. I think that's going to be kind of impossible without something like spray foam, which I'm not going to do. So it's a challenge. And then I got these little gaps up in here that I got to fill in. Then of course I got to put my vapor barrier over it. So that's going to be a little tricky too. What a pain. What a royal pain. See how I've got these brackets holding that insulation in place? That's all I'm having to do it. So I'm not going to get 100% coverage on my insulation in the back of this van, but it's not all that important. I think I'll get plenty. I think I'll have enough to be warm over the winter. Because I'm going to have a propane heater and it's going to be running most of the time if it gets really cold. So that's a little update on how the insulation is going. So there it is. There's one completed wheel well box made out of repurposed lumber that I had lying around from old shelving, utility shelving. Didn't have to buy any new material to construct it, just the fiber fill. I will lay a vapor barrier over that when it comes time to do that. And that should seal it up, and that's we'll call that good. I'm going to do the same thing on this side now. That's going to be another challenge.